Welcome back, book buddies. Day 2. Christmas gift for Chip. Day 2. A Christmas gift for Chip. It was Christmas Eve at the castle. The enchanted objects didn't usually exchange presents, but they loved to decorate the library and trim the tree. Belle was eager to help and placed a pair of her shoes by the fireplace. "What are you doing, Belle?" Chip asked. "When I was a little girl, my father and I would leave out our shoes on Christmas Eve for Papa Noel to fill them with treats," Belle explained. In that moment, Belle missed her father very much. Just then, Chip's expression changed. "What's the matter?" Belle asked. "I'm a teacup," Chip said, hopping into Belle's palm. "I don't wear shoes. What if Papa Noel can't find me?" Belle smiled. "You might be a teacup now, but you weren't always. Do you have any of your old shoes lying around?" "Yep," Chip replied. "All the enchanted objects do." Belle and Chip jumped into action. They raced from room to room, gathering up pairs of old shoes for Chip, Mrs. Potts, Lumiere, and Cogsworth. Once the pairs were gathered, Belle and Chip made their way back to the library. They neatly arranged the shoes in front of the fireplace, then took a step back to admire their work. A little while later, Mrs. Potts announced it was bedtime for Chip. "But I'm not tired," Chip said, swallowing a yawn. But Mrs. Potts and Belle exchanged a smile, then tucked the sleepy teacup into the cupboard. Soon after, Belle and Mrs. Potts returned to the library to reunite with Cogsworth and Lumiere. I'd like to do something special for Chip," Belle said. Lumiere thought for a moment. "Long before the master was turned into a beast, he was a little boy living in his castle," he explained. "Many of his old toys are still there. Perhaps you could give one to Chip." Belle's face brightened. "That's a wonderful idea," she cried. Mrs. Potts was touched. "That part of the castle is off limits," Cogsworth said nervously. He was afraid to break the rules. Lumiere, however, loved a bit of mischief. They made their way into the beast's childhood bedroom. It was gorgeous, a bit messy. "This chamber hasn't been opened for years," Mrs. Potts said. "It holds too many sad memories." But Belle was only partially listening. Her eyes were drawn to a set of toy carriages. "This could be perfect," she whispered. Suddenly, the beast burst into the room. "How dare you enter here?" he shouted. Everyone shuddered with fear, but Belle refused to be intimidated. "I was trying to find a gift for Chip," she said, finding her courage. "He helped me share a Papa Noel tradition with the castle, and I wanted to reward him for his kindness. It's Christmas Eve, after all." The beast had no patience for this. "Get out!" he shouted. Faced with no other choice, Belle and the enchanted objects took refuge in the kitchen. "Is he always this unreasonable?" asked Belle. Mrs. Potts tried to explain. "Soon after he lost his mother, he lost his favourite toy she'd given him, a white horse with blue eyes and a black mane," she revealed. Out of sadness and anger, he closed up that room forever, along with his heart. Belle felt sorry for the beast, but she wouldn't stay swayed. As the enchanted objects drifted off to sleep, Belle returned to the beast's childhood room. While searching for Chip's gift, she found a ball of string and a music box. Then she happened upon a pair of beast's shoes from when he was a little boy. Sitting in the beast's shoes aside, Belle turned to the toys in front of her. With a little tinkering, she knew she could create something wonderful for Chip, being the daughter of an inventor. Belle had plenty of experience with things like this, and somehow working this way made her father feel close by. Belle lined up the carriages and tied them together. Then she took apart the winding mechanism from the music box and put it into the first carriage. Belle looked long into the night. Now all she needed was something to wrap the gift with. She opened a drawer and deep in the back found a spool of red ribbon. Perfect, Belle whispered as she reached inside. But behind the spool, Belle discovered something even more precious. It was the Beast's lost horse. Ever so gently, Belle held the toy in her hands. "You've been dearly missed," she said. "It's about time you were found." Belle knew exactly what she had to do next. First, she fashioned a few bows out of the red ribbon. She placed some of Chip's carriages and wrapped a large one around the toy's horse's neck. Then she made her way to the Beast's current bedroom. She carefully placed the prince's shoes outside the door, with the toy horse resting inside. She knocked, then slipped away. When the Beast opened the door, he immediately recognized his long-lost favorite toy. "Where did you come from?" he asked, hardly containing his delight. Belle smiled to herself. She had been hiding behind a nearby pillar and watched as the surprise melted Beast's anger into joy. She had a feeling it was going to be a very Merry Christmas indeed. Before heading off to bed, Belle stopped at the library and placed the carriages by Chip's shoes, then hurried back to her room. She couldn't wait for tomorrow. The next morning, Christmas arrived. Belle and the enchanted objects hurried into the library. The objects usually enjoyed a cozy fire in a freshly decorated room, but this year something magical had happened. "Well, bless my soul," Mrs. Potts exclaimed. She then directed everyone's attention towards the fireplace. Each pair of shoes had filled with treats and surprises. "Papa Noel did come," Chip shouted. "He found us." Belle couldn't believe it. When she left the carriages for Chip last night, the shoes were empty, but now every pair was full and bursting. Then Belle scooped Chip up. "Papa Noel brought us most of this," she said to the teacup, "but the carriages are from me to you. Thanks for all your help yesterday." "Wow," Chip replied. "Thanks, Belle." Belle smiled and then revealed the final surprise. "These may look like ordinary carriages, but they're not. These carriages can move on their own," she explained. She turned the crank and the carriages drove by themselves, as if by magic. Then just then, the Beast poked his head into the library. Belle convinced the Beast to join them, and he walked over to the fireplace. "I'm sorry I was so angry yesterday," the Beast confessed. "I didn't see you get angry," Chip said. "That's right," the Beast said, turning to the young teacup. "You didn't. But I heard you played a big role in bringing Papa Noel back to the castle." Chip blushed and hopped onto the Beast's shoulder. The Beast presented Chip with a toy horse from his youth. "This horse was very special to me. I need someone very special to look after it. I was hoping that it could be you," the Beast explained. "I'll be honored," Chip replied. A happy tear ran down Mrs. Potts's cheek, and Belle's heart swelled. It was the happiest Christmas that anyone could remember. The end. Thank you very much for joining me again today. Do come back so we can read more books together. Please like and subscribe. Bye!